Welcome to another Market Open. I am George, or all George. So, what's going on today? Well, there's a lot of stuff that came out. More economic data, a lot of earning reports, and of course, metaverse news, including our favorite Jamie Dimon and Mark Zuckerberg. I believe they're going to be Metamates for life. So, let's discuss everything that's going on today. We got 8 minutes until morning bell opens. So welcome. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Follow me on social media and check out all the latest news, article, and guides at CryptosRUs.com. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. I just fixed my screen. All right. So here we go. Man, like I said, I'm not a morning person at all. But I'm here. All right. So if you look at the U.S. market right now, Dow, S&P, NASDAQ, barely in the red. Is today going to be a red day? We had basically 3 straight days of green, and we have many weeks of green so far. So are things going to hold up? Well, let's start out with economic data from today. So retail sales surged 3.8% in January, which was much higher than the estimate of 2.1%. But there is an asterisk to this, because if you look at this, you'll think, okay, this is great. Consumers are spending a lot more online than at stores, but still counts as retail sales. And all is cherry, right? That means people are still spending money and there's no problems. The problem with that is, the asterisk is, this does not take into account inflation. Considering how inflation is at 7.5% and the retail sales surge was 3.8%, you could see how there's a problem there. So how much of the surge is actually just due to inflation, and how much of it is due to Americans actually spending money? That's the thing. It's not really broken down. It's not taken account with inflation. So with inflation, I mean, it affects everything, right? It makes everything more expensive. So then retail sales, of course, versus before, looks better. So you don't know. You just don't know. So this came out. It was a good surprise that retail sales went up, right? But we just don't know. However, I think tomorrow we will, because Walmart will report their earnings tomorrow, and then we'll get a better picture of retail sales and how much Americans are actually spending right now. Or are we going to see like consumers start, saving up because they think that, the economy isn't going to be so good going forward? I think we'll see. I think we'll hear more about this or learn more about this with Walmart's earnings tomorrow than with this. But anyways, this is the big thing that came out today, right? Again, with PPI number that came out measuring inflation, CPI number that came out that's measuring inflation. Inflation is just going up and up and up. And right now, everyone's talking about supply chain issues and constraints. That has not improved at all. So when will supply chain constraints be lifted and improve? And hopefully, when it does, it's going to bring down some of the inflation that we're seeing, right? But no idea. No timetable of when that's going to occur. Now, what else is going on? Well, something that relates to buying mortgages. This actually is really shocking to me, okay? This is really shocking. The average size of a new mortgage just set a record. So a 30-year mortgage, now the average loan size is $453,000. $500,000, right? If you have a good income, you have a stable job, I could see, okay, $400,000 or $500,000 house, $600,000 houses in a wheelhouse. But we know there's a lot of Americans that are struggling, right, due to the last 2 years. And man, to see that the average mortgage loan is at $453,000, that's amazing. I never would have guessed that it was anywhere close to that. I would guess maybe like 250, 275, maybe 300, but not 453. And part of this is because of the rising prices of homes. Just keeps going up and up and up and up, right? Right now, just like with cars, right now it's like probably the worst time to buy a home. I mean, prices have inflated so much from just 2 years ago. You're looking at I'll give you an example. One of my best friends, he purchased his home 2 years ago for roughly around $250,000. Okay? He sold it last year. He sold it about 6 months ago and moved into a much better place for $425,000. 250 to 425. It's just it's insane what's happening with home prices right now, right? Again, some argue it's due to labor constraints, due to lumber prices going up, due to everything else going up, and that's why homes are a lot more expensive, right? If you're trying to sell a home, it is hot. You go get a ton, way more for your home now than before. But buying a home, man, it's nuts. It's a nutty market right now. But anyways, yeah, this really shocked me. 453,000 as an average, not even top end. This is average. So think about all the ones that's selling above too. All right, so leading off for those things, market got 2 minutes left before the bell rings. Unfortunately, I don't have a bell, so I have my buy button. So in 2 minutes, I'm gonna smash this. All right, good morning, everyone. What else is going on this morning? Well, let's talk about COVID. Moderna's CEO thinks it's reasonable to think that the pandemic may be in its final stages. I think many feel this way, right? So to quote him, there's an 80% chance as the Omicron evolves or SARS-CoV-2 virus evolves, we're going to see less virulent viruses, less and less. He said there's another 20% scenario where we see a next mutagen, which is more virulent than Omicron. But basically, we're seeing more variants where they're faster spreading, but less impactful on people's health, right? So it does seem like we're coming to the final stages, at least according to CDC numbers. Yeah, we went from 800,000, 900,000 infected per week now down to like 100,000 per week. And it's still coming down, right? So it does seem like we're coming to the final stages. So we'll see. Later this year, are we going to see all the mandates being removed, right? Travel restrictions move, quarantine. I know a lot of people overseas, their countries still have quarantine procedures where if you visit another country and come back, you got to stay in a hotel for 2 weeks or 1 week or whatever, right? It's part of the reason why I'm not having a conference. Those of you guys that follow me knows that I was trying to have a conference last year, and it's supposed to be this year, but because of everything that's still ongoing, I didn't plan it. So maybe next year, I don't know. But so I think this is pretty positive. But of course, this is I don't know. Not to sway off too much from this, but. We know what's going on with Canada right now, right? And Canada's basically this whole emergency act is basically due to the mandate, right? So if things are tapering off now and we're getting to our final stages, is that still worth it, right? Is it still worth it to continue down the path of, okay, you must get your vaccine shots before you could cross into Canadian borders, right? I don't know. It just seems like this is like the worst time to be making that stance right now when things are finally getting better and tapering off. So we'll see where that goes. All right, market open. 2 bell rings. Okay, NASDAQ is down slightly. Last 3 days NASDAQ was the leader of the indexes. And then, so we'll see. Right now, today is looking like a flat day, maybe a little red. Looking at Bitcoin came down a little bit. Bitcoin was above 44. has come down slightly, right? But it's still early. Things could turn around today. Things could turn around. Things could still turn around this week. All right, what else is there? What else is there? Well, I did want to talk about Metamates, but before I get to that, though, some of the earnings, there's a lot of metaverse stuff that's going on today, but some of the earnings that came out already, Shopify, which of course relates to online shopping and entrepreneur and small businesses, because there's a lot of small businesses that have a Shopify store. You know what? They actually did pretty well. They did well. Reported better than expected earnings in profit and revenue, top line, bottom line, yet they fell in the pre-market. Let's see if they're still unchanged right now. But, you know, that's pretty good. Casinos, not surprisingly, did not do good. Wayne Resorts had a pretty bad quarterly. Hilton, they missed estimate too. I mean, travel is still not where it used to be, right? There's still a lot of people that's, you know, just hanging tight at home, not traveling as much, not going to casinos as much. So those are kind of expected. Airbnb, I'll say, Airbnb is starting to get really, really expensive in my opinion. I don't know about you guys when you guys travel, but before, you know, it was always hotels. Then I kind of shifted over the years to Airbnb because for a family or multiple families, right, it was just cheaper. It's nicer to rent a home. But, you know, people keep tacking on those fees. There's like endless fees. So you may see something that looks good. It's like, oh, $400 a day or $300 a day. Then you add in the service fee, the cleaning fee, whatever fee, and it ends up being like $800 a day, which makes it no cheaper than a hotel. In fact, it's much more expensive than a hotel. So that's my rant about Airbnb. But yeah, so they reported record revenue for 2021, better than expected. So that's pretty good. There are still a lot of people that are putting their house up for sale. And then also you have a new line of real estate investors that just only concentrates on Airbnb. And it pisses off a lot of people because you have these investors that's just buying up all the homes. Before it would be rental properties. Now they're Airbnb properties, which piss off the neighbors more because now you have like closed communities, and all of a sudden you have this one house, and then you have all these people coming in and out, and it pisses them off, right? So there's a lot of associations in places that don't even allow Airbnb. They're very strict about it. So it's interesting. There's like a new line of real estate investors that's only utilizing this service. All right. Speaking of metaverses, you know, Roblox is considered a metaverse, just not a decentralized one. But, you know, it's very popular with kids, right? Their shares plummet after fourth quarter being really, really, really bad. But, you know, Roblox is a really good example of a metaverse that can easily integrate crypto if they wanted to, right? I'm going to guess someone like them will probably try to figure it out. But they have millions and millions and millions of kids and young adults that's already playing, right? You could easily transition this to become like a crypto-related game. I don't know if they're going to do it, but you know what? I wouldn't put it past them. All right, now let's talk about Metamates for life. Let's talk about metaverses. I found this very, very interesting. We know that Facebook, which is now Meta, they are now calling their employees Metamates. So this is according to a post from Mark saying that they need to change their culture, right? They are now focused on a metaverse or becoming a metaverse company, right? And metaverse companies, of course, you know, it's their values and their culture and everything else that comes with it. So now everyone is known as a metamate inside Facebook. So I don't know what to think about that. I mean, the name is kind of catchy, I guess, right? But I'll tell you, Facebook is really struggling. Ever since their quarterly report, they've been going down and down and down and down. No recovery in sight because Facebook is looking really, really, really bad right now. Really bad. So I'll pull them up. Let's see. I mean, they're down another 3% today. You go back 3 months. Oh, it's not sure. Something's wrong with this. But anyways, Facebook stock has been crashing down because they're in a really bad spot. Planet Earth only has so many people. And literally everyone on planet Earth have heard of Facebook. So there's only so many people you could grow to, right? And they have reached that peak. It was like 2 or 3 billion. They have reached that peak and they're coming down. So they're no longer adding new users. This is a very big concern because Wall Street, when they're pricing in stock, what do? They look at future. They're forecasting. And if you have a company, the whole thing is about selling ads to consumers. And if they can't grow, then they can't sell more ads, right? Well, they could sell more ads, but it's going to piss off people more, and then it's going to turn them away from the platform. So they're kind of limited in terms of how many ads they could serve because their user base is not growing, right? And there's no social companies that they could buy right now. Everyone else has turned their offer away, right? And they can't just pay like $100 billion for TikTok. That's just not going to happen, right? So they're in a bad spot, and Wall Street's looking at this like your metaverse play has cost you $10 billion in 2021, has not gained any significant users or revenue, and your biggest platform, Facebook, is losing consumers and revenue as well, right? And they are at the mercy of the mobile carriers. Apple has basically destroyed Facebook. They turn on these privacy features so that Facebook can't target users. Who's to say Google won't do that next? If Google does that next, I don't know what Facebook is going to do. They're going to have to come out with their own phones or something, because if they can't target the mobile users, they are dead. And Google could do that because Google's biggest competitor is Facebook. There is no competitor to Google other than Facebook. So they may be doing that too. Anyways, so Facebook is not a stock I would touch. I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, I know a lot of people rode Facebook on the way up in 2021, but man, they are looking very, very bleak in my opinion. But anyways, the reason why I labeled my title Metamates for life is because, of course, Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan becomes the first major bank in the metaverse out of nowhere. They now say the metaverse is a $1 trillion market opportunity, and they opened up a JP Morgan Chase Bank out of the blue inside Decentraland, right? So now Mark, if he's hanging out in Decentraland, and Jamie Dimon could be Metamates for life inside the metaverse. It's just wild right now, right? With metaverses or the metaverse. I mean, depends on what your definition is. There's a lot of things going on. People are trying to figure it out, but it's still very early stages. I mean, I played Decentraland. I played it in front of you guys. Right now, there are some cool areas in there, but it's just vastness of nothing, basically, right? There's not a whole lot of services going on. But in the future, it would be cool, right? If you could go to, I don't know, Chase Bank, or you go to some restaurant, or you go to a theater, you go to a concert, you go to wherever, and actually there's stuff to do, right, that relates to your life. Yeah, but it's early. Still getting there. Oh, by the way, speaking of Facebook, I don't know if you guys saw Facebook's Superbowl ad, right? I thought it was clever, but also very sad. I don't know if you guys saw that. It was like, those, whatever. I think they were trying to use like those robots from Chuck E. Cheese's, right? Like the singing robots, and how basically they live past their usage and they're just being thrown around, and then finally they go on Facebook's metaverse, and then they all become popular and they're reconnecting with their previous mates and stuff like that. So in a way, I think it's clever, but it's also sad to see that basically what Facebook is trying to do or target is people that have been shut out by society, the outcasts, the ones that are ignored. Now they get a second chance in the metaverse. That's kind of like what they're portraying, and that's kind of sad if humanity is going to become like that, where everyone is just going to be outcasts and loners and people that have no friends in real life and could only make friends in the metaverse. I mean, that's a bleak future that hopefully doesn't come. All right. Speaking of Super Bowl, I did see this. There's a U.S. Senate banking head that lashed out at crypto because of Super Bowl ads. So this guy argues, Sharon Brown, he argues that the Fed never had to advertise the US dollar. And to quote him, the fact that these companies felt the need to advertise at all is a bit of a giveaway about one of their major claims. If they were actually meant to be used as a currency, why would you need to buy ads? I've never seen the Federal Reserve buy a multi-million-dollar commercial for the US dollar. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of things wrong with that statement, and I don't even know how to get started. But but you know, we still have people that do not like crypto, do not like Bitcoin, doesn't understand it, and seems to ignore the fact that the Federal Reserve can just print trillions out of thin air, and that's somehow okay. So I'll just leave it at that. And someone else that's still trying to bring Bitcoin down is Peter Schiff, who is warning everyone that Bitcoin can drop to 10K, and that's not even a permanent floor, and the real floor is zero. So watch out, big warning from Peter Schiff. What else is the market doing right now? NASDAQ is down a little bit more, 1.14%. Bitcoin, unaffected. Still kind of holding here around 43.7. Entire market cap. If you're looking at things, let's see. Yeah, mostly. Just slightly down. Avalanche is up, though. Avalanche is up in a big way today, so that's good. Let's look at Bitcoin dominance here. Bitcoin dominance is still the same, about 42%. So if you look at things, okay, still kind of mixed today. Just kind of hovering. Today may be one of those days it just hovers and not a whole lot is going on. Lastly, I did see this. Speaking of Russia, you know, Russia-U.S. tension is still there. Biden is still warning people that invasion could be around the corner. However, Russia is now saying that trying to ban Bitcoin is like trying to ban the internet. So that's actually a big endorsement. So we know that Russia is starting to really turn pro-Bitcoin. Their central bank and the government are both looking to make Bitcoin currency and allowing Bitcoin miners to come in. Putin actually said he welcomes the miners, right? And now you have a governor, I can't pronounce that name, from Bank of Russia that basically giving him big endorsement, one of the biggest endorsements you could give about Bitcoin, which is you can't stop it. You shut down a node, another node comes up, right? It's decentralized across the world. So it would basically be like trying to ban the internet. Good. I'm glad to see that finally people are starting to pay attention. We've been talking about this for years upon years, and now we're starting to get recognition. So pretty positive. All right, that's pretty much everything I wanted to say today. So let's do a quick Q&A, and I'll let you guys go. Ivan Drago. Oh, man. What is going on, everyone? Good morning. Good morning. Metamates. You guys want to become a Metamate? Oh, man. I'm reading comments right now. Second Life is a dating site for boomers. I've never heard anyone get a date on Second Life. I'm assuming that game is still around. That game has been around for like, what, 20 years now? Or maybe even more? Noah asks, am I naive? If a government blocks fiat accounts currently, even if you receive crypto donations, still very few places you could spend it, right? Well, it depends. If you must convert to fiat, then yes. But there's also debit cards that allow you to spend directly from your wallet. So they can't stop that unless they stop the Visa network or the the MasterCard network. But I mean, if every bank out there right now immediately stops anything that does with Bitcoin or crypto, it's gonna make it hard to spend. But you know what's gonna happen? Then every single place out there, every single retail store and restaurants and many others will probably open up Bitcoin payments or crypto payments immediately. And plus, you could do that already with many big payment services already, like PayPal, for example, right? Cash App. There's a lot that you can use. All right. I'm gonna refer to everyone that is a NFT holder a Metamate for life of George. Yeah, not a whole lot of questions today, so I guess I'll just end the stream. Overall, today's kind of a sideways day, a little bit red. Bitcoin's down a little bit, right? Not a whole lot of news on the Russian front, on Canadian front. There's some economic data, but doesn't really give a whole lot because this doesn't really take into account inflation. But overall, these are still concerning things that we need to pay attention to. All right, guys, smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in a couple hours. Tune in 11:45 when I'll talk more about Bitcoin and crypto. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.